Hey, this is, I mean, I've done demo reviews for people before, but this one I figured I'd just do by myself and then upload to YouTube after. I don't know, just because I felt like it. Yeah, this is a demo review of someone who's not me playing, and I'll go over all the little decisions because I think for For Blamo, those decisions are kind of just the main thing. I mean, I suppose that's kind of what a demo review is for, anyways. But like that's the main thing I think, Blamo, that's keeping you from consistently beating a lot of people because your aim is really good. You know, your people were saying the night that you were playing that your rocket placement's kind of nuts and all that kind of thing. So yeah, this is just going to be a very basic demo review. If I say anything wrong, and anyone who knows better than me knows that I've said something wrong, like just I don't know, just comment it, I guess, with a timestamp because you know I want the advice to be as good as I can get it. So yeah, if anyone else has input to make, then feel free to say it. Okay, so we're gonna start on ironforge. I think ironforge is kind of, I mean, the meta is like, I think not entirely figured out. There's some bits that Rasper's told me, um, but kind of the bigger picture might be a little bit more difficult to put together. But I couldn't get the Dual 5 demo going, so I don't know. But yeah. So playing against Naki, I think you guys are fairly evenly skilled. Naki knows a bit more about how to play arena FPS than you, Blamo. But I think in general, you guys have a very similar skill set in terms of aim and in some areas decision making. So really getting the edge out on Naki is just going to be about preventing him from taking pickups, so that when you get into fights, you're not losing those fights on the basis that he's out aiming you. Just give yourself that little edge and be able to be more confident in those situations.
Three, two,
So we'll get into it.
fight.
Spawning LG. Okay, good that you take it, and the Mega. I do like denying the rail slugs there. Should have taken yellow, but going for the lower one I think is a nice decision. But now you're kind of putting yourself, I think, in a slightly worse position where if you had taken the upper yellow instead, just kind of played a bit more passive there rather than looking for a fight, you would have been able to say, look, I have better stack than you, because Naki wasn't contesting the lower yellow, or at least if you'd gone to C, you could have potentially hit some damage on Naki while he was in a tight space, and you could have got out quite freely. Because I think that's the thing about the upper yellow spawn, is that a lot of the time you can go up there and you can hit damage on someone who can't really retaliate just because they're in a little corridor and you're stood outside the door. So, but just gonna kind of be playing it slow here. Seems like very neutral interaction. I would have liked to have seen you leave here sooner, because realistically you shouldn't be anywhere near your opponent if you have, like 100-0. I wouldn't be near my opponent if I had like 150. So, yeah, I think it's fine to take the fight there. Would have been better if you were able to get the upper yellow, or at least contest it first, because you would have been able to maybe follow that up with that, and then, Naki would be slightly weaker. But, like that little interaction there, I think it's fine. I think I would have preferred you tried to just hit a rail and leave than use LG, just because that's a lot less risky. There's a lot less potential that he hits you back, and even if he does, it's an even trade, because he can only really hit you with rail, and he has to be reacting to you being there, whereas you kind of know that he's there. But just gonna get out of there. Good that you're playing it as slow as you are. Here, this is a very bad situation to be in. Obviously, you don't want to be taking red and someone is, like, right next to you, because in this position, because you're lower down, it's very it's very easy to just like hit rocket splash on someone and they can't really hit you back. So here I think the better play is just to stand up on the high ground and just kind of spam towards red. Realistically, you either Naki takes it and you hit a lot of damage to him, or he just backs off. But I think it's very risky dropping there, and that's not something that I would do. You do hit decent damage and get the first frag, so nicely played there, just kind of, cleaning up your mistake, but again, really you should not have been down there while it was up, because it's very dangerous. I'm gonna get the second frag. Okay. So, a little thing that I generally do just to save time in that area is I always just jump towards yellow even if it's not up, because you can get across the room a bit faster if you're not taking the telly. But yeah, it's just a small thing that saves time. But that lava is very dangerous. This is a jump you just have to practice. Yeah, that's fucked up. Very lucky you don't die here. But Nike respecting you a bit. Personally, I would have just run out the other way because there's health in other positions anyways. You can pick up the upper 25 in the yellow armor room, in the lower yellow room, and then see if Naki rotates towards the 225s. And if he doesn't, then you can take those. And if he does, then you don't have to push super hard. You can just kind of, sit back, don't rush yourself, and just make sure that you get whatever is up next. So here, that was very aggressive for not really much of a reason. If you are going to try and shoot him there, then I think it's better that you stand by rail, and then you just shoot like 1 or 2 rockets, and then back out. Because this is a losing fight. Nice damage there, though. And then... Yep, the jump over the lava again. So, I appreciate here you not playing so aggressively. Just kind of, staying out, because nothing is up at the moment, and you don't want to be caught out, because, on a map like this, it's very easy to drop a bunch of frags. But Naki not going to be able to find the 50 there, so getting a bit lucky. I like the play here that you're trying to deny Mega from him, but I think your routing could have been a little bit better. I think generally speaking, when you're about to take Mega, usually a good thing to do is just stand kind of by the little cubby where the rockets spawn in this room. And then you can just kind of strafe towards the side. You can strafe behind the boxes. There's a lot of different positions, like little positions you can take up there based on where your opponent is. That just makes it, more difficult for them. I'm going to take a bad rocket there, and I think really you should have left a lot faster, but it's not that big of a deal. But, having a modest stack, so you're not in too bad of a situation, it's more so just, try not to initiate any fights, I guess. There, having LG out, I don't think was a very good idea once you noticed that he wasn't by the teleporter, because if you had rockets out and you'd have seen him walking by, potentially you could have hit some decent damage on him. So maybe a bit of a missed opportunity there. But you're going to get yourself back in control without taking any fights. Nice punishing the drop there, but shouldn't have jumped towards him. You should have just really sat where you were. Very low. I think that was a very bad decision by Naki to try and hit the rail on you, because you wouldn't die anyways, and you'd kill him instantly. But at the same time, I don't think this is a fight that you move towards him to close out. I think realistically the best move there would have been to just duck into the doorway to the right there, and then just pick him off with the super shotgun if he wouldn't have died of full damage, because you know that he's quite weak because he made, you know, the weak pain grunt or whatever. So it's an easy fight to finish up. It's just about you know, you don't want to be on 5 health when he spawns because you know, if he gets one of those spawn frag positions and he hits you with a single bolter blast, then you're dead. So just I'm gonna wait for red to be up. Very risky there. I think especially, you know, you heard Naki off to the left side and you didn't look towards him, which means that if he hits a rail on you, you're not hitting anything back, and you're not even, you know, realistically, I think the best move there, considering you don't have rail, would have been to spam Gotlung into the choke, just to make it a bit more dangerous for him to stand there, because that way he has to think about dodging both the Gotlung and taking the rail shot. So realistically, if your opponent if your opponent can hit you, you should be looking at them. And yeah, here it's gonna be a bit more difficult for you. He does overcommit to the position, but good that you don't chase there. Nicely played. And getting the mega here is quite good. He's playing very aggressively. Here I would have liked to have seen you just take the telly and get the upper yellow, because it's probably up by now, I don't know. But that would be my inclination, and you could have, you know, stacked yourself a bit better. You would have had a higher position over Naki rather than being down here and potentially, you know, getting rocket spammed out, getting LG'd. And you could have done a bit more about it and trapped him a little bit, because it's difficult for him to run. So picking up the bubbles and then getting it, which is fine. Here, you can hear that he's below you, and I think the best play is just to peek over with rockets. You're missing an opportunity to hit damage here, I think. Especially with LG, there is not going to be amazing. And here, again, he's just going to hit you with rail, so you just have to duck to the side, I think. And then, you know, think about how do I get rail, because he's obviously, his game plan is just to say, okay, he doesn't have rail, I can just peek in these sight lines and I can just hit him for free. And even if I take damage, as long as I'm leaving the fights early enough, I don't have to take anything, and I can just keep whittling away at him. So, realistically, I think you want to reduce all the fights where he's hitting unreturned damage on you, and basically you just want to make it so that he's forced to push onto you if he wants to hit damage rather than using rail. Okay, so good that you do get out that way. Nice! Nice intercepting him there, knowing that yellow was about to be up, and he's probably going to take it and hitting a lot of damage on him. And that's going to leave him hurting quite a bit. And he pushes just too aggressively there, and you manage to get the frag on him. So, again, getting yourself stacked up nicely. You really do need to be getting rail. I think that's particularly on Ironforge. I mean, rail is just good in general, right, because it's rail, but I think particularly on Ironforge, you know, there's all these long sight lines, all these positions where you can shoot from really far away, and, you know, it's enough that, you know, LG is quite weak. You can't sort of strong-arm yourself into these fights as much, just because there's so many little positions that you can just shoot a rocket, a rail, and then just leave. So you need to be doing those things as well, just so that, you know, that damage isn't unreturned, and because you're in an advantage, it's gonna benefit you doing those neutral trades. And yeah, you see once again, he just keeps taking rail. Here, if you're going to move backwards, you shouldn't be turning away. You should be watching in case he tries anything. Because potentially there, you could have got like an LG pin or something, and then he would have died. Again, not looking at him. And now here, I think where you're chasing towards him, you're just putting yourself in sightlines. And really, now he's just chipped away at you until your health is like... It's more... Your stack is quite bad now. You really have to try and play passive, especially because now he's controlling the... He's got the upper yellow. It's going to make it more difficult for you to get the lower yellow if it's up soon. Standing in this position, terrible idea. Just get out. That's what you need to do. Especially now that he's chasing you. Never mind. But, good that you're just kind of staying out the way, getting the stack back. And some nice damage there. The repeat was really dangerous and you shouldn't have done that. You should have just got out. Yeah, and now you're in kind of a terrible situation. Because nothing is up and you have no health. So here, I would say just don't have LG out because it's quite noisy, so if Naki gets even remotely close to this room, he's going to immediately know where you are. But just scrounge around for health. Play the low ground a little bit. Just stay out of sight. And here, you hear that he's close to you, and drop the Mega still. That's really something that you should be conceding, because you just don't have the health for the fight. And he kills you there. He's low, but not really worth going for the refight. Here, for some reason, he does not take rad. Yeah, difficult situation. Just get out as quickly as you can. I wouldn't even stay for the fight. And then here, you should not be rotating into this room. What you do is, I think, go into the red armor spawn, and just kind of jump up onto the high ground and see what you can get from the high ground. It's not going to be much likely, because you already took the lower yellow, and everything else is, like, kind of deniable by blamo, by Nike, but you can play the upper position, and you can just watch what happens, and just, you know, make sure you're not getting in these fights where you're losing a shit ton of health. So getting the yellow there. Finally you have rail. That's really a big thing for you, and that's the reason why you got fragged earlier, was just because you weren't taking rail. So, especially on Ironforge, you know, that's something to remember. Very unfortunate, you take a lot of damage there and he kills you again. And see here, this is kind of the thing that I think you should be doing in these positions where you're getting fragged on the low ground, and Naki's not able to go up to the high ground. Just go up to the high ground, and then even if you have no health, you know, you can control how much he sees of you. You can spam these positions, like the Mega and the red armor. You can do all those things to make his life just a bit more difficult, and chip away at his stack and keep him from trying to push you. And if he does push you, you're on high ground, so he has to take a teleporter or something, and that's going to take time, and, you know, you'll be able to run away by then, because you really don't want to fight. So getting the red armor there, quite nice. You should be pre-aiming at that doorway when you're going up that way, just because shit like this happens, where there's actually a lot of space, and you can often sit at the bottom, and you can just kind of punish people from there when they're taking the red armor. So it's very worth just kind of staring at that doorway once you're going back, just so that this kind of thing doesn't happen, and if it does happen, you can react very quickly. Here, I don't like you committing to this fight. You took a lot of damage. I think the play was just to take the telly and just go into the lower yellow room, and then from there rotate towards the upper yellow, and just try and keep him from pushing you. Just play around the chokes that are on the map, and just, you know, stop him from being able to move towards you and hit damage, because you just can't take a fight. Right, getting the upper yellow. And again, this is a position where I think you just want to play passive, stack up on weapons, because you're not going to be able to get any items. And here you push towards him. Lucky you didn't take any damage, but very risky for you there. That's not something I would have done. And then the drop here. Yeah, that kills you. For sure. And then you rotate towards where he's going. And he gets you again. Just, you know, you just spawned. You only have, like, rockets and Gotlung. You cannot take a fight. Do not rotate towards him. You need to, I think, in general, you need to be a bit more mindful of where your opponent is, because I don't think it's so much that you think that you can take these fights as it is that you don't know that they're going to happen if you go there. So. So I like being passive here, not going up against the wall because you saw that he splashed that. Trying to hit one rocket and then just leaving. I probably would not have gone for that. I would have just said, like, okay, you know, if I take a direct, then I die, so I don't want to be in this room. But considering that you did want to do that, I think that was probably the best way you could have gone about it. So, getting the upper yellow again, I think that's been a very good thing that you've been able to do, is just take these yellows and control them so that even if he does get the red, you're still stacked decently. No reason for you to be taking the fight here. This is so dangerous for you. If he had hit that rail, you would have been dead. Should be taking those 225s because you're so low. Good that you get the red here, but again, still very low. He pushes you there. If he'd have hit a rocket on you, he could have comboed that into a rail. He could have hit a lot of LG on you, that kind of thing. You know, he would have fucked you over, and you would have died again. Again, just not taking the healths, which you should be doing because your health is not good. Yeah, it's those little, like, optimizations that will just make you faster to these fights. You're decently stacked now. Nicely played. I wouldn't have repushed that just because I think I would have read that wrong, but considering, you know, that was pretty good. So now you just, I think your main focus, instead of pushing him, is just to deny mages. You know that the upper yellow is not up, and the lower yellow you can take easily. So I think denying this red and picking up the lower yellow when it spawns, if he gets mega, he gets mega. It's not gonna be like enough to push onto you because your stack is still better. Good that you do find him here and get the frag. I think you committed to that a little bit too hard, but then it's also, like, obviously, I don't think you knew you were running into him. But I think you probably should have been thinking about that before you went in, because, at least to me, it seemed fairly obvious that he'd spawned somewhere around this room, and that he would have been here. So, very dangerous situation you're in here, where, you know, you have nothing, so. Okay, just kind of playing it slow. I like that, not overly committing to a position. Here, you should not be using Gotlung, you should just be using LG. It's just way more efficient. He's low, you know. And you lose the fight there. Yeah, just having the upper yellow unlock the whole game, and now being able to pick up the red, I think you committed to that position very strongly. And if you weren't careful, Naki would have Naki could have shown up and hit a lot of damage on you, because you can hear that he's coming up to the left side to the doorway. And He's kind of scared to overly commit to this. And yeah, good that you're not taking that fight, because really that only ends in you taking a lot of unnecessary damage.
1 minute remaining.
Nice rocket. Here, I don't think you should have dropped. I think you should have gone towards LG, and if he takes the teleporter, you don't commit onto him. Because, you know, you have 1 minute left, but that's still a decent amount of time, and you can set up another fight in that time. And if you get that frag in that time, rather than rushing yourself, there's less chance you take damage. And he gets less time once you get the frag to make that back. So being aggressive here, I'm not a fan. But you do manage to keep him from pushing you. And yeah, here you should have been facing him. He kills you, and now you really don't have much time to make something happen. He is low, but you really do just need to be pushing him within the next 10 seconds. Especially now, it's very easy for him to run away because you don't know where he is. Nice damage on him.
You're tied for the lead.
Very lucky there that you were able to bring it back, considering how the fight went. And now, going into sudden death, really you just have to be slow here. It's, you know, dying loses you the match. So, you don't want to commit to things very strongly. So, personally, I wouldn't have even peeked for that because you don't have rail. I don't like the play there. I don't like you jumping towards him. I would have much rather you stand your ground and you just wait until you're in a position. He's in a position where he can push you, because again, sudden death. You don't want to lose the frag, but also potentially you can hit a lot of damage. But yeah, I think even though you got the frag there, what would have been a better play would just be playing that slower, not going towards him. He was right next to you, but still, I think hitting the direct is kind of lucky. So, I think that's the kind of play that that you don't want to be making, especially, you know, when it could potentially lose you the match, because it's very like, it's very like, oh, I hope he doesn't hit me. But decently well played. You know, some work could be done on those decisions, but I feel like you are generally kind of understanding how duel functions a little bit more, and especially, you know, in Doombringer. So I think it's a good start, and it's good that you were able to take that game off of Naki. Especially, I think what won you it was just your control over those yellows, because it was quite difficult a lot of the time for Naki to restack. So, you know, if you'd have been making less mistakes, like where you were taking a lot of rail damage and you weren't picking up rail, that kind of thing, you clean that up, it would have been a lot more decisive, just because you'd be able to get those frags on Naki and he wouldn't be able to get back in, and he would just really struggle. So, yeah. Well played. Well played. Right, so different kind of pace of map, you know, Tox is a lot faster, but I think it differs from, you know, Arrow Walk, so on and so forth, in that a lot of the decisions that you're made to make are very, like, deliberate. So I think for you, it might be a bit better in terms of, you know, you can play fairly aggressively on it a lot of the time, and you can hit damage, and you can kind of force yourself onto your opponent, but it's just a matter of, like, kind of learning to discern, you know, okay, when should I push, when should I play back, how do I deny things, so on and so forth.
3, 2, 1, fight!
Okay, so immediately going for rockets. Here, I don't think you push forwards. I think you just grab Mega and the yellow, and then by the time that he's over by red, you're able to hit the damage on him while he's taking it. So, you do get the Mega here. Here, it confuses me that you don't just immediately rotate towards red, because you can tell now that he only has 50 armor. I think he took a bit of damage before, so he has less. So, you know, if you take red, he's out of the game. But instead you go for LG here, and you give him the space to take it. I think that was a big blunder on your behalf in terms of, you know, playing for the armors instead of the weapons. Would not have given him an in, and you would have been able to play aggressively, which you tend to do. Yeah, so he takes red now, and I think you really overcommit to this position. I think you want to play by the 50, and then the sight line on you is reduced, and when Oz is backing out, he can't really shoot at you, because now he's able to stand in a position where he can hit rails on you. He doesn't, thankfully, but, you know, you gave him the space. And, across that gap, you should not be using rockets. Just ever. That's basically, you know, LG and rail only. Nice damage being hit on him. He would have killed you if he didn't miss that, so... Yeah, and here you moving towards him when you can hear that he's by the telly, makes you take a lot of damage here, and now you have to be on the back foot. And you don't take the 50, which makes it really easy for him to get the frag here. Whereas if you had taken it before you dropped, you know, he would have hit the rail and he would have done some damage, but you could have got out and, you know, taken the 25 and then kind of stop the bit around there and see what you can do. So, spawning on LG. And I think, here, you should hear that he's, you know, coming up behind you, and, just, you know, you need to check if he's going up the stairs, or if he's playing the low ground and denying the position, because, I think you pushing there made you end up taking a lot of LG, and kind of fucked you over a bit. Here, you should not be out in the open. Here, you just want to play around the low ground. Here, where he's going, if he's not going towards LG, you go towards LG. If he's going towards LG, then you go back to the telly. You know, that kind of thing. And landing in the slime, and you will get fragged again. And, yeah. All of this was basically just off of you deciding not to take the red. There were little things there that also did not help. But, for the most part, you know, he got those 3 frags because you weren't able to deny him the red armor and just push onto him. So, getting the red here now is quite good. You don't go for rail. You really should have. And good that you heard him. Bad that you took out rockets for that. You should have had rail out. Here, I think you commit to this fight too much. You can see there that you take a lot of damage and you kind of piss away the stack a bit. Here, don't jump at him. Just play from a distance. He's shooting nades at you. He doesn't have LG. Or, actually, maybe he does. I forgot. But, your LG is going to be a lot more useful from that position since you have no rockets. Good that you hit the damage on him there. I don't like the decision to go through the telly. If he was looking at you, he would have shot you and maybe killed you. But you do get the lower yellow, which is good. So you guys, he's going to be stacked slightly better than you, but you know, you're going to be bringing it back a little bit. I like here you not chasing. What you really need is an LG box. Because, you know, a fight like this, you're gonna lose a lot of stacking. So now that you've got that, you should be really rotating to the... Yeah, there you go. And here, I think you just want to take it slow. Don't overly commit to a fight, because he's still stacked better than you. Shame that you were slow to the yellow, because you probably would have got it, and then you could have hit a direct on him or something, but it happens. And again, you're not looking towards him, and he hits the rail on you. But nice damage with the Gotline. We call that a brain fart, I guess. Nice rocket. The trade there is interesting. And now here, I think, you know, nothing is up. Just take weapons. Don't rush into a fight because, again, nothing is up, so you'll die. And I think potentially here he just got red. And now he's taking the other armors as well, so you're kind of, you waiting around here is not good. Especially here now that he's found you. And yeah, he's gonna be able to run at you. There, I would have liked to have seen you play that a bit slower, just kind of, rather than immediately running towards him, just waiting until he's, like, shot a grenade, or, like, he stops shooting to give you space, and then you can peep through, rather than running at him while he's actively shooting, and if you get hit with a direct, you die. Yeah, not too much you could have done there. Not much up now. Again, not too much you can really do here. But I think going towards the telly is the wrong move. I think what you want to do is go towards the platform that's above LG, and then just sit there and just wait to see what he does. And depending on the position he rotates to you rotate to a room that he's not in to make it more difficult for him to get you here, just so that you can stall him. Here, you should be doing the jump with the bolter to the 50 rather than committing for the rail, because you don't have the stack. And you drop down again, despite the fact that he just killed you there. Potentially what you could have done was drop towards LG, take the upper yellow, and then just kind of play a bit passively from there. See what items you can pick up, and just don't commit to a fight. So, again, nothing up for you, just because you keep just repeatedly dying when Oz is taking everything, and that's making it quite difficult for you. Here, I don't like you committing to the position, well, not really committing, but, like, you know, you shoot the rocket, you don't want to take any damage at all, because you're 150. If you take any damage, you're potentially in a position where the next encounter you have, if you don't take anything, he one-shots you. So. Nice rocket. And he was confused a bit, I guess. Nice, okay. So you did get a bit lucky there, just in terms of him rotating to that position, not expecting you, and you hit the direct on him. But, you know, the way you dodged a bit was good. And you were able to finish him off. So now your focus should be on what is the next item I can take. He's just respawned. What can I take next? Because he's probably not going to have the weapons to fight you as effectively as you could fight him. So you just want to bully him off of a pickup, basically. Okay, nice. You get the frag there. And red is up, and you're not taking it. Good that you get Mega there. Here, I don't think you go... actually, maybe you do go through the telly, but then I think once you go through the telly, you just want to go immediately towards Rad. See here, you're rotating to positions that give him space to go towards Red. You do eventually realize, but it takes you a sec, and he gets rail. Whereas, you know, if you had just rotated towards Red, even just by LG... that makes it so much more difficult for him to get into this room, because once he's in this room, you can shoot him, and if he tries to go out in any direction, you can rotate onto him and hit damage. So it makes it really difficult for him to enter this room. Whereas now you've given him the space, and now he's in a position where it is actually quite difficult for you to hit damage on him with the rockets. And once he's crossing the gap, you know, you don't use rockets, because you're not going to hit that splash. You just want to use LG. And getting the frag here is good. Immediately dying the yellow, immediately denying the yellow even better. And the lower yellow as well. So yeah, now your focus should just be... Mega's not up yet. Now your focus should just be rotating on top of him. Just putting him in a position where no matter where he goes, he has to fight you. Rather than giving him space. Because, like, he's not getting this Mega, right? But I think he did get red. Yeah, there you go. You not having rail is doing a lot of bad for you because there's positions like that where you're not able to hit damage on it. And now he's getting back into the game. He's picking things up. Whereas, you know, off of that spawn, if you did rush towards him, you could have taken the red, and then you wouldn't have been in this room waiting for it. And you could have taken the upper yellow as well. But getting the red here is nice. You are stacked better than him. Like, a lot better. But that's not going to help things. I don't think you rotate towards this room. Not immediately, anyways. Because, you know, that doorway is actually really weak if someone stood on the high ground. Because you just absorb a direct. A lot of the time. And, again, you keep taking that teleporter, and then you're, like, moving towards him while he's got LG out. Because he knows that you're coming, because he hears you down there. But then I guess you don't... I don't know if it's just that you don't process it quickly enough, or whatever, or if it's that you're not trying to keep track of his position as much as you should be. But you're putting yourself in positions where he's able to hit damage on you, and, you know, he's able to chip away at you. And I think that's a big reason why he's been able to stay in the lead, is just because you're letting him get away with all these things that realistically, like, he should not even be able to do in the first place. And he's going to take Mega from you. Here, this is not a good position to be aggressive, because he's 200, 150. You don't want to be fighting that. Good that you did hit so much damage on him, but I think a player who's a bit better of an aimer would have immediately decimated you. Spawning on the red is good. Kind of unfortunate that he immediately pushed it, but, you know. You do manage to get out, at least. And, yeah, there you were just waiting around too long for a position that he was very easily going to push. And, you know, you died for it. Once you take the yellow, you drop the rockets. Because you can hear him coming, and, rockets are going to be a lot more versatile, and especially for playing... Well, I don't know about that, but, you know, you can hear that he's coming, so you don't want to be in this fight, because now he's floating you. Here, you pushing this is really bad, because you're just putting yourself in a position where he can hit you. Good that you get the Mega. Would have been better if you took the 25 first. Dropping here was the wrong move. You should have just backed out, I think, towards LG. Once you heard him took the tally, you should have gone towards LG. Because if he commits to that position, you die. So getting the red is pretty good. You still don't want to fight him because he's, you know, he's 200, 150, whatever. So he's better stacked than you. But it helps. And here you're rotating towards positions where he can hit you. I think that's, again, it's just you. I don't know if it's just that you're not aware of your opponent's position or that you kind of don't really factor it into your decisions. But, you know, he's positioning himself where he can hit damage on you, and you're just kind of allowing him to hit it. You're going directly towards him. Here, after he hits the first nade, you should be backing out. You shouldn't be pushing him. Okay, taking the red is good. I like the position that you rotated to. I think you maybe could have waited a bit longer, but I think generally doing that was the best move you could have made, just in terms of limiting how much you're in his sightline. And now you're, you're in control. Well, I don't know about in control, but, you have the best stack, so you really want to be trying to hit damage on him. Good that you take the tally and kind of deny him the position. Instead of jumping towards Mega, because you just took it, so you know that it's not up. And you should have just been trying to hit rockets on him in the position that you were in before, as you came out of the tally, just on the lower ground, and then potentially you could have moved towards LG, tried to see if you can anticipate where he's going, or just listen to him, and then just try and push onto him, and try and hit damage, work your way to a frag. Because he's not stacked particularly well. So if you do that to him, it's going to really, prevent him from doing anything. You should have heard him coming. And yeah, you should have been retaliating with LG. Very unfortunate you didn't get the frag there. That's kind of just, aim, I guess. Could have switched to LG, but then, I don't know, the reaction time is, weird.
1 minute remaining.
You really do need to be... I mean, this match is lost already, but, you should be pushing onto him now. Nice damage there. It would have been a lot more efficient to just go through the right side or whatever, the low ground rather than the stairs, just because that path is much quicker than going up the stairs. The drop here, not good. Again, you're taking very inefficient routes to get to him. Taking a lot of damage there, but you do get the frag. Should have used LG more in that fight. And getting another one. And then the suicide, that was kind of unpreventable, to be honest. So, more decisive of a loss here than your victory on Ironforge. I think, again, it's a lot of, getting him in positions where you should know not to push certain things, or you should know not to position in certain ways just because he's able to hit the damage, and yet you do it anyway just because I think your lack of experience kind of hinders you a bit. I think a big thing for you is you're not thinking about where your opponent is, and so as a result, you kind of play as if you can do anything when you really can't. So that's another thing. That's a thing just to be more mindful of, is your opponent's position, what they can do in those positions, that kind of thing. Yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I've been trying to teach some newer players Doombringer, so I guess if anybody else, gets into Duel, finds people they want to play against, that are at their level, I'm willing to review demos for people. I'm willing to play games against people, teach them stuff, because I do love this game, and I think more people should play it. So, yeah. But that was just for Blamo. Hopefully, Blamo, you find this helpful. Hopefully, anyone else finds this helpful. Yeah, I guess there's not much else to say. So, see ya.